Hi, I'm Nick Maselli. At TD Bank, we believe all citizens need to be informed about the important financial issues that affect their daily lives. That's why we're proud to support programming produced by the Caucus Educational Corporation and their partners in public television.
This special edition of One-on-One with Steve Adubato is brought to you from the Tisch WNET studios at Lincoln Center. Funding has been provided by Virtua, NJIT, New Jersey Institute of Technology, New Jersey Natural Gas, proud to support education in our communities, Horizon Blue Cross Blue Shield of New Jersey, TD Bank, and by the New Jersey Education Association, working for great public schools for every child. Promotional support provided by the Star Ledger, powering NJ.com, and by the New Jersey Business and Industry Association and its monthly magazine, New Jersey Business.
This is One-on-One.
When you first heard that they were doing Charlie Rose and Gayle King, didn't you go, what?
People like laughing at others, so I don't mind if the other is me.
See, you go right into the character. That's what it is.
I'm bringing families together a half an hour each week. Man, I'm doing something special.
And so I do feel successful.
Hi, I'm Steve Adubato. Welcome to the Tisch WNET studio here in the heart of Manhattan at Lincoln Center. It's my pleasure to introduce Chris Licht, who is the Vice President of News Programming at CBS News and also Executive Producer of CBS This Morning. You're having a great career because before that, what was the name of the show you started over at MSNBC, Morning Joe?
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's what it's called.
Yeah, well, first of all, it is great to have you on.
Great to be here.
And
Thank you.
you know that I've admired your career for a long time. And
Hey, we go way back.
Yeah, we go way back. You've done some terrific things. How much do you love this work?
It's tough to put words to how much you love it, and you have to do what we do. It's so all-consuming that you really do have to love it. I tell young staffers when they come in that if you're not just in love with every moment of what you're absorbing, then find something else to do, because it really, I love it. It's what's not to love. You
know, it's funny, in the intro to the show, you see Gayle King. Gayle's the first person you see. We don't have to need me to tell you. You know, you see her right there. And she talks about her and together with Charlie Rose and Nora O'Donnell. Yeah, they get a great team. Describe that team, because you've part of your brilliance is putting teams together, helping the chemistry, you know.
Well, I will
they've
say,
got chemistry, but then making the most of it. But they've got something.
Yeah, and look, the world of TV is littered with executives who thought that there would be chemistry that looked great on paper, and once you put it on a set, it falls flat. So there's no great brilliance at all. It's truly, and I'm not being modest, it's truly luck. You put the people that you think might have something, and then you have to see it evolve on the set. In this case, Jeff Fager, David Rhodes, the two guys who run CBS News, and myself, we all sort of brainstormed about what the team should look like. And, you know, Charlie had a very long relationship with CBS News, the 60 Minutes stuff. And Gayle, I knew from Morning Joe and her sort of love of life and love of everything. And, you know, Nora did great work. Yeah, NBC, and also was White House correspondent for us. So you put them all on the set together and you kind of sit back, and it really exploded. They all come at things from different, you know, angles, and they're very different people, but they all bring something to the table, sort of literally. And you know, it didn't take very long for it to mesh. It just was like, wow, there's something here. But if anyone tells you that they can, well, I just knew that when we were putting those people together, it was going to be magic. They're lying, because it's really hard to get right. You know,
I've known you again for a long time as a producer, and I saw you off the other place at MSNBC and seen you under a lot of pressure. But this is an interesting kind of pressure for the morning ratings war. War is, again, a stupid word, because there's real, I've said this before, there's real war and then there's TV war.
Right.
How much pressure? ABC, the Today Show,
right,
CBS, and then you got CNN doing their thing, you got other people doing their thing. And that whole mix, how much do you think about where we are in the mix as opposed to, hey, let's just do a good show, whatever happens, happens?
Well, the pressure I'm under is that the task I was given when I came to CBS was, let's put a morning show on that is in the image of the CBS News brand. Let's put a morning show on that mirrors what we do at 60 Minutes, CBS Evening News. So that's the pressure. You know, it's you. Are you doing something that's worthy of the halls you're walking in? And I know you can't really understand that until you work at a place like CBS News, where there's pictures of Edward R. Murrow on the wall and Cronkite, and you're thinking to yourself, am I doing, and Gail talks about this all the time, are we doing a show that's worthy of that? So that's where the pressure is. The phone calls I get and the emails I get from my bosses are always related to content. You know, I don't get emails that say, hey, I noticed the demo women 18 to 54 didn't quite go the percentages that
You don't get that.
I don't get that. What I get is, because we're in third place, we're taking chances, we're trying to make things better, we're trying to do a very unique broadcast. So when you stray from the mission of the broadcast, that's when it's like, well, wait a second. And we firmly believe that what we're doing will get an audience. It is getting an audience. It's had incredible traction. The numbers that we did for February were the best that have been at CBS in the morning for 7 years.
Right.
The November numbers were the best since I was in college. So it's starting to get traction, and it's a slow slog. I mean, when was the last time you changed your morning routine? It's hard, but we have to stay the course, and that's where the pressure is. The pressure is to stick to your guns.
Interesting about pressure. When you were at Morning Joe, and you were just working with a terrific group of people there,
Yeah.
with Joe and Mika and the other folks, a personal health situation changed your life. Describe it.
So I had a brain hemorrhage in 2010, which happens just like that. It happened to have been right after a morning show broadcast in Washington, D.C. And I was just riding in a car, luckily not driving it, but riding in a car, and suddenly just had the absolute worst pain in my head that I've ever had. At the time I was 38, and when you're 38, oh, this is this or this is that, and it was like nothing I'd ever felt, and ended up going to the hospital, and it was to say it was life altering is an understatement.
Tremendous pressure. You were the guy constantly working whatever electronic device, right? It was all consuming.
Sure.
How much, again, I don't want to minimize what you went through, because I remember when that happened and everyone in the industry was talking about it, because you were this high profile guy. It's on the top of your game, and this happened so young. No one knew what was going to happen, and you and your family are dealing with it. And you're also talking about how great the people around you are, how incredibly supportive.
Oh yeah, it was.
Right?
It was Joe and Mika. What they did for me in that time is why we're so close. We were already close, but that was just, they dropped everything and were at my bedside and calling Vice President Biden to make sure I was getting the right doctor. This was, it was that. By the way, that was one of the things that I was most worried about. You think you're laying in a hospital bed, you're thinking, am I going to live? And you're kind of thinking about that. But I was also thinking, am I going to be damaged goods? You think all the people in the industry are talking about it, and are they writing you off? Like, how crazy is that?
You were really thinking that?
I was really thinking that.
When you came back,
yeah.
How do you think it changed you as a person and as a professional?
Well, I absolutely went through a complete metamorphosis, and it's not about that I consciously did it. It just happened. So I can't really explain why, but you're in the hospital bed and you think to yourself, if there's something that I'm not thinking about right now, it doesn't matter. And you just sort of let it go. And what that does is it frees you from a lot of the BS in our business and in life, because I don't care.
The noise?
The noise, exactly, the noise. And what I did is I just started really producing from my gut, because what are you going to do, fire me? I almost died. So, if you talk to people I worked with, they say I became a much better producer, because I was really I wasn't, producing to cover my butt. I was producing because to what I really thought was the right thing to do. And you make a call and you stick with it, and I wouldn't recommend going through one of these things, right. But it certainly, I came out the other side much better, producer, and of course, I think person.
Listen, again, knowing you for the last several years and back in the day before there was even a Morning Joe.
Nah, Secaucus, Scarborough country.
Oh my God, that's how you brought me in.
That's right.
You brought me into Scarborough country before there was a Morning Joe, and so I want to
Just so you know, that was really just for this moment.
Yeah,
I
right.
did that 10 years ago so that you would interview me today.
It is so interesting how you meet people in this business,
absolutely.
and you never know how your life is going to. But I just want to just wish you and those closest to you nothing but the best, and also wish you the best over at CBS and your perspective on life. Again, you don't want to go through that, but a lot of people have gone through some things and it hasn't changed them at all. But for the better, it's changed you. And keep producing good stuff, and we're proud of you.
I really appreciate
Keep it up, and thanks for joining us here on Public Television.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Okay, folks, we'll be back from the Tisch WNET studio right after this. Stay with us.
If you would like more information on this program, or if you'd like to express an opinion, email us at info@caucusnj.org. Visit us online at oneonone.org. Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/Steve Adubato, PhD, and follow us on Twitter at Steve Adubato.
Here he is, Todd Miller, director of a film called Dinosaur 13, which tracks the discovery of, set it up for us, the most significant...
the Tyrannosaurus Rex, yeah.
Sue the Tyrannosaurus Rex.
The greatest dinosaur find in history.
Why Sue? Why is it called Sue?
Well, it was found by an amateur paleontologist by the name of Sue Hendrickson, who was working at the time for the Black Hills Institute, which was run by a man by the name of Peter Larson. So our film chronicles that team and their discovery.
Peter Larson's important in this, right?
Correct. He is he's the president and owner of the Black Hills Institute. He was also the man responsible for collecting Sue. And they took it back to the Institute, prepared it, and then...
Talk to us, narrate a little bit.
Yeah, so these are just, shots from the film. This is... the film tells a 10-year saga from the time the T-Rex was found back in 1990 to the time it was presented to the public in 2000. So a lot of those shots that you just saw were shots that we shot, but we were also granted access to all the archival photography and video and film that the team had at the time. And, they're scientists, so this is what they do. They document all this stuff. So it was amazing that they provided it to us for us.
But it's a complicated story because, in prepping for the show, I'm reading, wait a minute, this gets very, I hate to say political, but it does get political and legal because aren't there questions here about who's in control of what you find, meaning is it the property of the public, meaning the government? Is it a private commercial situation? Set that up for us.
Yeah, well, let's say you want to go out on a fossil dig. You want to go find a dinosaur. 99% of it is knowing where you are in relation to what land you're on. And in the United States, 3/5 of the U.S. landmass is owned by the government. That's managed and regulated by Bureau of Land Management, U.S. Forestry, National Park Service. These are public lands. So if you want to go and find a fossil, and then take it home with you, take it out of that park or out of that forest, take it back curated in your living room, you're going to go to jail for that. You can't take that out. Not only are you going to get fined, but you can be...
it's against the law.
It's against the law. So the flip side of that is private land. So within the industry of scientists, paleontologists that do this sort of work, they're split into two camps. There's a schism between academic paleontologists who can get permits to go on public land and commercial paleontologists who it is legal to sell dinosaurs in this country.
Do the academics have a real problem with the commercial paleontologists?
They do. I'm not going to speak for all of them.
But some of them don't consider it real paleontology.
Correct. And there's, bad sides of both. You have bad paleontologists that are commercial guys and vice versa. So. But there are, in our case, in our film, Peter Larson.
Yeah, where does Peter Larson fit into this? I'm sorry for interrupting.
He's kind of in a gray area. He is a commercial paleontologist. He runs the largest independent fossil company in the world, the Black Hills Institute.
They have a fossil company?
They have a fossil company. So museums will pick up a phone, call them, say, hey, we got a new exhibit. We need a T-Rex. We need a
What, he goes out and looks for it?
9 out of 10 times, it'll usually be like a cast or a replica. So they have molds from things that they have found that are scientifically accurate, that they will mount and then ship to these individual museums wherever they are, all over the world. And then sometimes, in the case of a T-Rex, which are very rare specimens, they will go out and find a T-Rex, and it sometimes will take years and years and years and years.
Put in context for us the scale, the size. Like, what are we talking about when we are talking about the nature of this T-Rex?
Okay, so this shot's out in the Badlands of South Dakota.
South Dakota, go ahead.
And then this next shot, so that's the second biggest T-Rex ever found. That's called Stan.
That's Stan.
Right, and he's approximately 40 feet long. That one on the right over there was MOR 555, which,
go ahead.
Again, another 40-footer.
Well, then what? But here's the thing: how do you? Is it all broken up? What is it?
Yeah, so they call it disarticulation. So when you actually find disarticulated.
Go ahead.
So when you find an actual, and our film's called Dinosaur 13, by the way, and the reason for that is Sue was the 13th T-Rex that was ever found.
Oh, is that
so
why?
It's important to understand that prior to 1990, there was only 12 T-Rexes that had ever been found. And of those 12 specimens, less than 40% of the individual specimens had actually been collected. So you growing up, me growing up, no one really knew exactly what a T-Rex looked like. We hadn't found a complete leg. We hadn't found a complete arm. We were just guesstimating what it looked like until we found Sue. Sue in 1990 was 90% complete. For the first time, we could actually see how many bones were in the vertebrae. So those are the original discoverers of Sue the T-Rex, and that is Sue. So you could see disarticulated, and that the tail there is, we were seeing exquisite articulation where they are together. But the skull, for instance, is underneath where they're sitting right now.
I'm not getting it.
2 feet down in the ground.
I'm not getting it. I'm sorry. Stay on the shot. Don't get off it, folks. What? They're sitting on what?
So
they're sitting on dirt.
It's important to understand, too, that the location where this is found in South Dakota. So North America was split at, 65.5 million years ago, was split into two. We had a low-lying ocean. So a lot of these remains that we find in the Badlands, this is in the Hell Creek Formation, they were embedded and into concretion, into rock, and it was covered very, very quickly so that by mud and sediment that the bone could actually be preserved. But in 65 million years, things shift around a little bit. So we see, even though the animal died and it was fully put together, after 65 million years, it's like if you went and laid down in the mud, died, and then 65 million years from now,
65 million years,
somebody's going to find you. So your bones are going to be somewhat disarticulated.
How long did it take to put Dinosaur 13 together?
3 years. Took us 3 years.
How much did it cost?
We privately financed the film ourselves. It's very important for us to do that. Yeah, so we optioned the book that they wrote Peter Larson wrote. It was his memoir that we optioned. And Hollywood had been banging down his door for a long time.
Really?
And we're just giving them piles of cash and, walking away. And we came at it with a different approach, which was to go out, interview everyone that was involved in the story, get their stories in a first-person account, and then go back and do some reenactments. And then once they started giving us all the footage, we were like, it'd be pretty stupid on our part to reenact all this stuff. We have the real people.
Where's Sue now?
Sue is in the Field Museum in Chicago, where she is seen by millions and millions of people. She is not in the museum of the Black Hills Institute, which is where they wanted to have her after the discovery. In 1992, as they were prepping Sue's bones to be put in their museum in South Dakota, the FBI came and with the National Guard and a plethora of different federal agencies and seized the dinosaur on behalf of the U.S. government. That led to years and years of a custody battle, which led to the largest and most expensive criminal trial in South Dakota's history, which led to ultimately an auction here in Manhattan in 1997.
Wow. And the film, people can see it, find it?
Dinosaur13movie.com.
Say it again?
Dinosaur13movie.com.
That is not named after WNET Channel 13. I just want to clarify. And that is not why we had you here. I just want a full disclosure. There's no conflict.
Not to my knowledge.
Okay. Listen, Todd Miller, director of Dinosaur 13. This is great stuff. Fascinating.
Thanks.
Thanks very much for coming in. Stay with us. We'll be right back right after this. Fascinating.
If you would like more information on this program, or if you'd like to express an opinion, email us at info@caucusnj.org. Visit us online at oneonone.org. Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/Steve Adubato, PhD, and follow us on Twitter at Steve Adubato.
Stephen Kern, the Director and Chief Executive Officer of the Newark Museum, is with us. Good to see you, Stephen.
It's great to be here.
You have a great gig and a great place. Tell folks what makes the Newark Museum so special.
Newark Museum is special for a lot of reasons. One is its history. It's a museum of service, so education has been at the spine of what the museum's been doing since 1909. But the greatest thing for me, the greatest opportunity, is it brings art, science, and history together, so you have these tremendous opportunities to bridge and link and not just teach, but entertain and really have a good time in the galleries.
Yeah, as we do this program in the spring of 2014, you've only been there for a short period of time.
I celebrated my 1-month anniversary,
yeah,
exactly.
Tell folks, you come in replacing an icon, a giant, if you will, at the Newark Museum in the philanthropic community, or if you will, in the nonprofit community. Mary Sue Sweeney Price. Tell folks.
Just an amazing footsteps to follow in, and when you look at the history of the Newark Museum, it's just been one really tremendous director after another, and so it's a real honor to be able to follow. And we've got a lot of great plans, and I hope to do her proud.
Absolutely. Hey, tell folks about the Gala, the Newark Museum Gala coming up on May 10th. Our friend Nick Maselli, who is in fact one of the co-chairs.
That's it. He's one of the co-chairs with Peter Serra at Prudential, and the Gala's been going on since the 60s and sort of fits and starts, and it's been regular, an annual event, and it's a tremendous opportunity for us at the museum to honor those who are really helping us bring about change and tremendous impact in our community with arts and science. And arts and sciences are the theme for this this gala that's coming up.
Arts and sciences.
Yeah, you know, you got this museum that actually offers everything. It's like a little mini Smithsonian, it's been called. And that's what makes the museum distinctive. It's got some of the most important art collections in the world, but to have that contextualized with science and even history, I think really opens the door to a lot of interesting discussion on so many levels.
Why don't we do this? Let's run some photos, and Stephen can talk about some of the exhibits that are at the museum as we're doing the program right now. Let's take a look at some of those shots as we speak. Let's take a look.
Yeah, this City of Gold and Silver is an exhibition that's up now. People think
City of
Gold and Silver.
Love
it's
it.
all about goldsmithing in Newark. Newark was the greatest center for goldsmithing in the United States back at the beginning of the century. This exhibition includes the first Super Bowl trophy.
From Tiffany.
Tiffany in
Newark, New Jersey. That was the block. I was born and raised on Tiffany Boulevard. At the top of the block was Tiffany, the factory itself, where they made the first Super Bowl. This is crazy stuff.
This is great stuff, and it's on loan to the museum from the Green Bay Packers. How many art museums get to say, we've got something on loan from the Green Bay Packers?
There is no other museum other than the Newark Museum. That's fabulous. Show us another one, folks.
Norman Rockwell is up now. We're a museum that's devoted to American art, and what better icon from the 20th century about storytelling, about identity, and also a really interesting artist because he's been pigeonholed in one place after another as just an illustrator, as just a storyteller. But when you see this exhibition that's up at the museum now, and it runs through May, amazing talent at staying connected to the world around him from start to finish.
See, let me ask you this. Museums play an incredibly important, and we're here in the heart of Manhattan, and MoMA is, you know, up the block, but further up in Manhattan. And there's so many museums that matter so much here in New York City and in Brooklyn and other boroughs. But for those of us in New Jersey, we know how special places like the Newark Museum is. But the role of museums in society changed dramatically in the last 10, 15 years?
It sure has. In the 70s, I think that was really this period in which museums made this very conscious shift to community service, to engaging the community around them, not being a private club. That's kind of the reputation that many had developed. And what's really interesting about the Newark Museum is it was founded by John Cotton Dana. And in 1909, he was saying, engage your community. You're about education as much as entertainment. And so the Newark Museum has been walking that walk since 1909, and other museums started catching up in the 1970s, and it continues today. And there really is an obligation to serving your immediate surroundings, the zip codes around you, your own communities, your neighborhoods. But a museum like Newark is great because we also have this international following because of our collections.
International following.
The
Talk about
largest
that.
collection of Tibetan art in the United States, in the Western Hemisphere. The most comprehensive collection of African art in the United States. An American collection that gives the entire sweep from pre-Columbian on right through today. And you can learn lessons about everything relating to American art in these 50 or 60 galleries that we have.
But everything you're talking about, Stephen, all the exhibits, getting access to this incredible stuff.
And it, you know, one of the things is the school programs that have been going on since the very beginning. So somewhere, depending upon the year, between 50 and 70,000 school kids coming through.
But that being said, requires a tremendous amount of money, resources.
Resources are, yeah.
How much of your job is fundraising?
Probably most of it. I still find time to
Which
wander
is why the
through those
Gala
galleries.
on May 10th is so important,
Yeah, you know,
right?
because, yeah, that generates several $100,000 for us. We're looking to about $500,000, but it's not just the money that's coming in. It is, again, engaging the community and taking this opportunity to recognize those who help us get our job done. And so we've got several medals and awards, and we've got the Healthcare Foundation of New Jersey that's going to be the commemorative award, and the Community Partnership Award is going to Beth Israel Hospital, Children's Hospital, and Barnabas Health.
Right.
And then also recognizing some of our own with the meritorious medal that's going to Gurdon Waddles, who's been on our board forever and is just a great role model of supporting your museum.
Well, folks, the Newark Museum is a wonderful museum. It was a big part of my life growing up in the city of Newark, and on May 10th, there's a gala there going on supporting a great cause, and we wish you nothing but the best in your tenure there, because it is an important institution, not just for the folks in Newark, but for everyone in the community.
All around. Thank you.
One-on-One with Steve Adubato has been a production of the Caucus Educational Corporation, celebrating 25 years of broadcast excellence in partnership with St. Joseph's Healthcare System. This special edition of One-on-One with Steve Adubato is brought to you from the Tisch WNET studios at Lincoln Center. Funding has been provided by Virtua, NJIT, New Jersey Natural Gas, Horizon Blue Cross Blue Shield of New Jersey, TD Bank, and by the New Jersey Education Association. Transportation provided by Airbrook Limousine, serving the metropolitan New York, New Jersey area.
Some things were never meant to be cut. That's why when you have knee replacement at Virtua, we don't cut the quadriceps tendon. Because when it comes to getting you past chronic knee pain and on with your life, it's what we don't cut that counts. Visit gotmylifeback.org today.